Welcome to the Sisterhood of Sweat. I am here today with Joe Hoye. Joe Hoye is the owner of Hoye Fit. Although he is a 30-year-old man, Joe decided to build a health coaching and weight loss business that leans into women and moms entering in or past menopause to help them ditch the diets, regain control over their midsections, and learn to have control over their body forever inside of a lifestyle they can enjoy. Joe has a very interesting story as far as why he felt chosen to serve this group of people and that he didn't choose it himself. And today we talk about reverse dieting, building a metabolism, being able to have food that you enjoy, and so much more. We're dealing with women at midlife and beyond. So I hope you enjoy this episode. And without further ado, we're going to dive in. I'm so excited to welcome Joe Hoye to the Sisterhood of Sweat today.
You nailed
Welcome.
it. Thank you so much, Linda.
You're so welcome. I really am excited to have you on to talk about this topic of reverse dieting today. So many men, women get into this low calorie deficit and beating themselves up with too much of cardio and not enough food and just get in this whole vicious cycle. And it doesn't have to be that way. And so I'm very excited about this topic. How did you even get into finding it out about reverse dieting, and what is your backstory?
Yeah, absolutely. So the backstory should probably come first because I got into coaching women in midlife long before I learned about reverse dieting. And gosh, how many women 40 plus actually need this inside their life? So I'll give you the kind of Cliff Notes version of this. Growing up, my only strong and consistent role model was my mom. I was kind of heading down the wrong path at 13 years old, and she saw that. So she brought me to the gym when otherwise I would have been hanging out with the wrong kids, doing all the bad things, and really not ending up where I am today in life. So she introduced me to the gym. At that time, I was getting picked on. I was tall and lanky and skinny and awkward. I had no real confidence. And I thought that the gym would be my out of that. I was going to get big and muscular and all those things. And I worked out consistently from 13 to 18. I really didn't put on any size. I kept getting picked on. It only got worse. I only felt worse about myself. But I never stopped going to the gym because although I didn't see that change externally, it was a good outlet internally and mentally. So I kept going. I graduate high school. I start pursuing a career in surgery. And because of that, I have to take courses like anatomy and physiology, nutrition, kinesiology, and really get an understanding of what the body needs in order to change. So I was my first guinea pig. And I started doing all the right things. But in college, I also started partying and drinking beer. And so I went from 145 pounds, just under 6 feet tall, to 225 in about a year. So I gained 80 pounds. A lot of that was body fat. I was still unhappy with myself. Now I was just overweight. And so I finally started to take things seriously. I kicked the drinking, kicked the partying, and I got into shape of where I am now, about 190 pounds. And growing up in a small town, people asked, like, Joe, how'd you do that? Because we knew you when you were skinny. We knew you when you were overweight. You had no confidence then. But now you look us in the eye, your head is up, your chest is out, you look great. Can you teach me how to do that? And my business brain that I was kind of born with had that light bulb moment of, okay, I think I have something here. So I started running these online weight loss challenges, thinking I wanted to help people like me. Men either gain muscle or lose fat and feel confident about themselves. But
Hmm.
when I advertised it and I got those signups and I opened up my first Zoom call on Sunday morning to coach everyone, the only people looking back at me looked a whole lot more like you, Linda. And I couldn't figure out why. But I think that growing up with my mom as my strong and consistent role
Mhm.
model and hanging out with all her friends, I just learned to communicate and talk in a way that really resonated with them. So I naturally brought them in. At the end of those first 8 weeks, I loved it. We all had fun. They all got results, and I just kept going with it. So I was making some side money doing that, but at the same
Right.
time, I graduated college.
Mhm.
I had gotten my first job in surgery. My role was to help the doctor with surgery, not actually do it. I was never a doctor. And again, this fell into my lap. They thought it was a great idea to take the one man in that role because there were six other women on that team, take me and put him inside the OB and the GYN based rooms. And so then I spent the next 3.5 years working alongside surgeons on the female body and learning everything possible that I could to understand the female body, how it worked, how it functioned. It's separate processes from men, and it only helped me to get better results for my clients. And
Mm,
so the three-part story is really number one, I want to give back to my mom because if she didn't get me in the gym, I promise you I wouldn't be here right now.
mm.
Number two is I communicate well with them and I have fun. Number three is I understand their body really, really well.
So what would you say that the typical woman midlife does not understand about her body? Everything?
Well, yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if this goes out to video, but if so, they probably just saw me chuckle. I would say a lot. I would say that they either don't understand or they forget that muscle loss and bone density is happening prevalently when you're 40, and it's only going to speed up as you get to your 50s and 60s. I would say that they don't understand the amount of calories they actually need in order to thrive rather than simply survive. And they've done too much for too many people for far too long. And it's time to focus on yourself. And
Too
with
much for
those
too
three,
many people for far too long. You hear that, ladies?
exactly.
Oh my gosh.
And
That's you're preaching to the choir out there. But so they've done too much for far too long for far too many people. And so in this, haven't they also done too much in the way of cutting calories, work sometimes, well, sometimes they don't work out at all because they're doing too much for everyone else. But then you have the opposite extreme where they're just working out way too much.
exactly. And I think that too much for too many people for far too long, it becomes a habit. It becomes something they're used to. And so then they get used to doing that in other parts of their life. Used to cutting calories way too much, used to exercising way too much. And all three of those things, Linda, I know you know this, but they're all just stress. And if our body has too much stress, it's going to want to protect us. And our body
Right.
does a great job at protecting us. But when we want to lose weight, we look at that protection as our body actually fighting against us because you're not losing weight. You're simply staying where you are or even gaining weight in some instances.
Right. And I think though what you're saying too is women can get into that way too much of everything and get the cortisol really shooting through the roof. And your body is trying to protect itself. Uh and if you're even going through menopause, you if you're over exercising, under eating, stressed out to the max, your estrogen is low, pretty soon you could find yourself really having quite maybe even a cytokine storm, like because your body is trying to protect itself, so it's hanging on to every ounce of fat, estrogen, all of the things because it knows it's going to lose muscle, bone density, and all those things.
Exactly. Yeah, you nailed that. It just does an incredible job at adapting. Our bodies are the ultimate adaptation machine, and they're going to adapt to whatever circumstance we put them under.
Right. And it adapts to if you do a diet of 500 calories, your body thinks it's starving. It's a little different with fasting, but if you're starving yourself daily for a long period of time, then you're basically shutting your metabolism down. And I know as a competitor, you could get so lean and so to like the extreme and dialed in on your diet, but it becomes a problem once you've done show after show,
Mhm.
and then this whole aspect of you're not going to get better unless you reverse diet comes in. But this could also be the same for someone that's done diet after diet after diet, right?
Exactly. And those are generally the women that we see. We don't work with competitors at all. We work
Mm-mm.
with the everyday mom or women in her
Mm.
40s
Okay.
that has had the weight to lose for the last 5, 10, maybe 15 or 20 years. And because
Mm.
of that, she's done Weight Watchers 15 times and ideal
Or
protein in between that. And then
a million other
Optavia,
diets.
yeah, whatever it is, and none of them have worked because she's been doing them for way too long. Maybe the first one worked and that's why she's hooked on it because she's like, well, I did Weight Watchers the first time and it worked that time. It's like, well, great. It would work again if your body was working with you, but then you're just going to put yourself in that massive calorie deficit and get right back to where you are again, anyways.
So what is, for everyone out there listening that has never heard of such a thing, what is reverse dieting?
Yeah. So to put it simply, we understand that dieting is lowering your calories from where you are. If we want to reverse diet, we raise our calories from where we are. But just like if you're going to do a diet right, you shouldn't be going from 2,000 calories down to 1,400 in a day. And you shouldn't go from 1,400 up to 2,000 in a day either. You want to slowly get there over a matter of weeks, preferably months, and really
Mm.
take your time to show your body number one, it doesn't need to gain weight during this process. It is going to consistently get more food. And by doing that, it can stop taking the calories you eat and storing them on your body for later. And it can start taking the calories you eat and start burning them as energy so that you actually have energy throughout the day and you feel better and you focus better and you sleep through the night and you're not yelling at your husband and everything in life improves.
And you gain muscle.
Yes, if you're doing the right type of
You're
exercise, you
lifting
do.
some weights, you're going to gain
Yep,
some muscle. Uh, and that's also important because you have to feed muscle if you want it to grow.
exactly.
So, how does somebody get started then, reverse dieting? If, let's say, a lot of women out there would fall in this category, 1,200 and under calories they're eating.
I'm gonna do 1,000 calories to keep my math simple because if I do
Okay.
1,200, I'll panic while I'm getting recorded and I'll look like a fool. So we're just gonna keep it simple. So let's say someone's eating 1,000 calories a day.
Yeah.
My recommendation, and I know this changes between coaches, and I think that's fine as long as
Right.
it's roughly around this.
Sure.
My recommendation is to first increase your calories by 20%. And so that means if you're eating 1,000 calories a day, let's make your first
Mhm.
calorie jump 200. You're going to go from 1,000 calories a day to 1,200 for the next week or two. After that, depending on how long you've been dieting, then we recommend somebody jumps from either 50 calories or 150 calories. And that range is going to depend on how long you've been dieting and how big of a deficit you've been in, right? So if somebody's been in like 1,000 calorie deficit for 5 years, we're going to make really slow jumps. But if somebody's been in a 500 calorie deficit for maybe 8 months, we can move up a little bit faster. And that'll go from either 1 to 2 weeks at a time until you reach your maintenance calories, which there's a ton of free calculators online. I wouldn't be surprised if Linda has an amazing one for you. And you just work up to your maintenance calories.
So, explain to everybody listening how this fixes your metabolism. That was the biggest part of the problem why you weren't getting the results that you wanted is because you're killing your metabolism when you're not eating enough.
Yeah. So again, our bodies adapt to everything. And as a civilization, we've evolved much faster than humans could evolve. And so we're still, as humans, stuck in the caveman era where our bodies and our brains think we need to hunt for our food. And if we have a shortage of food, then we need to adapt and lower the amount of calories that burn. But we don't know we have a grocery store on every corner. So I know your brain knows that. I know you know that, but your body doesn't. And so if you start taking those calories away, your body's going to think, uh oh, I'm not going to get my next meal. I need to hang on to these calories for later because if I don't get another meal, I'm going to need to have them to burn. And so that's why you start slowing your metabolism down. And what we mean when we say metabolism is your ability to burn calories.
Right, right. And doesn't everybody want to eat out there? Because, I mean, that's the other thing. This is like so awesome to do a reverse diet because you could actually eat more. And then when you're done reversing the diet, you're still probably eating more than you ate before and weighing what you want, having the muscle tone if you're, of course, lifting weights or doing some kind of resistance training. And you don't have to have the opposite extreme of like what happens if you do too much cardio, don't eat enough food, you lose metabolism, you're losing muscle, which is also like a calorie burner, and you're getting flabby in the process of all of that. So you might be smaller, but you won't feel like you look better or feel better.
That's what I say all the time is goal weight is not the true goal. Because if you do it the way that you just explained, all you're going to do is hit the number that you want on the scale, but you're just going to look like a smaller version of yourself. When in reality, you want your body to look different. You want your body to be composed different than it is now. And that means having less fat and more muscle so that when you get close to that goal weight, you also have your desired body.
Hmm. What type of cardio do you recommend for women in midlife and postmenopausal?
The type of cardio where you lift weights. No, no, I'm just kidding. Kind of.
I mean, well, no,
Just
I mean, be real. Shoot the truth out. If you don't think women should be doing so much cardio, just tell them. Tell them now.
okay. I love it. Stop doing all that cardio. I would say that walking's gonna be great. Some steady state cardio. Just get up and move your body. Being sedentary is the new smoking for sure. But if you're going to prioritize exercise, I want you to prioritize the right kind, and that's going to be resistance training. So, do you have to go to the gym starting tomorrow if you've never been? No, you don't even have to use bands. You don't have to use anything but your body. But start working against gravity in some way or another with push ups, wall push ups, air squats, step ups onto a box or a chair. Just do something to work those muscles and signal from your brain to your body and back to your brain, hey, I'm using these muscles now. I need to keep them. And as a matter of fact, it's hard. So I need to grow them to make it easier. And that's the type of exercise we should be doing.
I like it. So when you say reverse dieting, are we eating cupcakes?
For me, once in a while, because I want people to be normal. Are we
Yeah.
eating cupcakes every day? No, I don't think we should. We should be having,
Yeah, too much
at a
sugar.
minimum, 80% of clean foods.
Uh-huh.
After that, if you're doing good, if you're hitting your protein, if you're hitting your calories, and you want a cupcake on your daughter's birthday, please go have a cupcake. Because if you deny yourself of that cupcake, you're going to want it 5 times worse the next day, and then 25 times worse the next day. And when you do finally have a cupcake, it's going to be 10. And when you have 10, you're way more apt to give up than if you just had one, but you still hit your goals. So, yeah, have some crappy food once in a while, but way more times than not, have clean food that matches with the kind of person you want to be in 6, 12, 18 months.
But also, again, like our bodies are made to be able to have some crappy food once in a while. It can handle
Hmm.
some crappy food once in a while. It's about what you do the majority of the time, and you want to treat your body like you would like a Lamborghini that you want to be doing and looking and living well when you're getting older. And that is part of it. Like you don't take your Lamborghini out and put in the unleaded gasoline in it. You treat it well and you want to treat your body well. And so I think yes, you could have some crappy food like Joe said. But again, like the 80/20, like on my plan that I have online, it is if you're 80% good, you're good. It
Hmm.
works. And so I think this all or nothing rule is what trips people up where they think that it's all or it's nothing at all. And it really is, so that's a fallacy. And you're more successful if you allow yourself some room.
We find that to be true with our clients too, is we always ask them to just tell us what they have planned for the weekend or the next month coming up. And oftentimes there's a wedding or a barbecue or a bad day or a bad work week. And like, hey, I really just want to go out with my husband and not think about it tonight. But I know if I do that, I'm going to wake up Monday and kick myself. And so instead of saying, you know what, you're right, you are going to kick yourself on Monday, don't do that. we like to say, I don't think you're gonna. How about you go out with your husband, you have fun, you don't think about a thing, you wake up tomorrow and you come back. And on Monday, don't even take your weight measurements because we're gonna know you had extra sodium. We're gonna know you had a glass of wine. That's gonna keep your water weight up and it's gonna skew the scale. So why don't you jump on Wednesday and see what happens? And they jump on Wednesday after being back on track for 3 or 4 days. They're right where they were. Nothing bad happened. And they actually feel a whole lot better because they got to have that crappy food with their favorite person.
Right. I mean, you want to be able to participate, but also it's kind of a balance too. Like, I think if you plan it in, it still was sort of a discipline. So
Mhm.
it's, you feel disciplined. It's when you are so like stringent, like you said, that you wanted to eat 5 cupcakes, 10 cupcakes, because you were never allowing yourself anything. And then if you ate the 5 cupcakes, then that's when you feel not disciplined and out of control. And so I think just planning it in is more effective, but also funny. If I tell my clients um their cheat meal could be chocolate cake, beer, and pizza, they're like, no, no way am I doing that. So it's almost like reverse psychology to be telling you, yeah, you can have this on Friday.
That's one of my favorite things to see. And there's a couple clients that come to mind when you say that of, hey, you know what? Why don't you go have that pizza, beer, and chocolate? Or if you're tired, you don't need to go to the gym if you don't want. And they look at us like they're crazy. They're like, well, why would I want to do that? Number one, I love going to the gym now. And number two, I'm going to feel like crap the next day. And I actually like the healthy meals that I'm making because you showed us how to make it taste good, Joe. So, yeah, we see that all the time too. It's so fun.
You showed them how to make it taste good. And I did grocery shopping for my client today. I'm going to her home tomorrow, and I am literally cooking up so many things. And sometimes you have to show people these things so that they understand, oh, that was good. Oh, that was easy. And just the process of doing it, they're like, yeah, I can do that.
That's great. I like that you do that in person for them.
You can also do it. I was thinking about doing like on YouTube, doing like a
Mhm.
channel where I was cooking up things because people really like, I said that would be my next lifetime. I'm gonna have a cooking show.
That'd be great. Healthy cooking show. We could use one of those.
I know, right? My gosh. And also people realize then, oh, that wasn't really that hard. Oh, that really tastes good. Oh, why would I want to eat this then?
It's never really that hard. The hardest part is just starting and getting out of your head.
Yeah. I mean, and so you help all these people. What would you say, like one of your greatest success stories for that you could share with the listeners?
So when you brought an older client to mind when you just told that story, if I'm going to my client's house to cook this and show her she can do this. And we had this client that she'd been overweight her entire life, ever since she was a little girl. And she had a really fixed mindset. And what I mean by that is she thought that she couldn't do things in life because she'd never been able to do them before. And
Right,
so when she got introduced to me,
right.
he started throwing up all these walls immediately, saying, Joe,
Hmm.
you can try, but others have done it in the past. I don't know how to cook. I don't like to cook. I hate going to the gym, but I've never been. I just don't think I can do it. And now, oh my God, if you could see this lady, she cooks for her and her son every single day, and she enjoys it, and it's healthy. Not only does she go to the gym now, but she found out she loves it. She is like the top girl in her class, and it's a group strength training class. She still does her Sunday morning Dunkin' Donuts runs and absolutely crushes her calories on that day because hey, she likes the donuts and the coffee and the bagels that she can get. But she also lost 136 freaking pounds while doing it, and oh my God, it's just such a good thing to see. She's like a different person.
Now see, that's a heartwarming story. I love that. And I think the listeners can identify with that because we all want a life at the end of the day. And like my dad used to say, you're not going to be hanging in a wax museum somewhere. You don't have to be perfect. So live a little.
I like that. That's good.
But it's true. You have to remind yourself sometimes because once you get started on a path, uh, you could obsess. You could obsess over it. And so I think I like the story about your lady still having her donuts and her coffee. But I like the fact that you helped open up her neural pathways to realize that she could enjoy cooking. It could be an adventure, right? And she could learn. She actually loves the gym so much that she became the best one in her class. And so I think we tell ourselves these stories sometimes, and you need to be open to the fact that they're not true. Yeah.
No, they're not. It's just stories that you're telling yourself. That's all it is. We all have them too. I
Yeah.
have them. Linda has them.
Now, what would you like every woman out there to know today? What would you like to say to them?
Well, for one, I'd like to let everyone know that I'm giving away 3 months of free coaching. So that would be fun. Um, we're all online, so anybody anywhere in the country can enter. If you're the winner, you're not going to get sold anything, and all we need is your name, your phone number, your email. That's to contact you if you're the winner. And we want a really compelling reason as to why you think you're the one that should win free coaching and what it is you want to accomplish. And that's what helps us decide who we pick as a winner. Aside from that, I want to let everybody know that there's no right or wrong diet. The right diet is the one that works for you and keeps you healthy. So find that, do it the right way, and it's more simple than you think it should be.
And what is your why, Joe? Why do you do this?
It's just great to see. Like when I talked about that client, there's nothing that makes me feel better than seeing her get to play with her kid and seeing her kid get to be healthier because she got healthier, and then seeing the ripple effect of all of that. And when I started this 6 years ago, that ripple
Mm.
effect was small. But now, as we speak right now, Linda, I'm in the middle of hosting what is the world's biggest online event for women in midlife to date. And the ripple effect now is absolutely massive. So I just love seeing the change.
And on a bad day, Joe, when you don't feel like working out, what do you tell yourself?
Um, our clients are a lot of my motivation because if they can get up and do it, and they have all these fears and limiting beliefs and all these past, I'm putting in quotation marks, failures, but they can get up and do it, I know my butt can. And so I get up and I work out. And there's truly not a single workout in my life that I've regretted, but I've only kicked myself for the ones that I didn't go to the gym and at least try my warm up.
Right? Because you always feel you never kick yourself for doing your workout afterwards. You never
No,
say, I wish I wouldn't have done that. Darn, I worked out, right? You always feel better. You always feel better. Um, and what would you say your favorite cheat food is? Like if you were to go and have something, what would your go-to food be?
so definitely Blueberry House ice cream. It's just a town over for me. They make their own ice cream. It's absolutely amazing. And for anyone that we were talking about the donuts or the cupcakes earlier, I get that at least once a week. But I also eat great every single day. And if it wasn't that, it would be New York City pizza.
New York City pizza?
Oh, yes.
What's the claim to fame with that?
So that's where my family's from. I'm the only one born here in Vermont. But growing up, I would always go back to the city and visit my family. And so I just absolutely fell in love with the pizza. If you haven't had it, Linda, that's probably why you don't know what the claim is because it is amazing.
I have not had
Okay.
it.
Where do you live?
I live in Ohio.
Oh, we got to get you some New York City pizza.
Yeah, my
We'll get
daughter
it.
lives in New York, so I'm gonna have to tell her.
Perfect.
So also, what we want to again say where they can sign up to win the free coaching one more time.
Yeah, so I'll send you a link and we'll put that in the show notes. Hopefully just front and center so it's very easy for you guys to find. And that's it. When you win, you win. There's nothing you're going to get sold except for the fact that you've always had the success inside of you and we're just going to bring it out of you.
See, that's a win-win, guys. Make sure you look at the show notes when this episode comes out next Wednesday. And Joe, what quote would you like to leave everybody with today?
Oh man, I hate this question so much.
Most people always say, I love that question, but
Oh
Joe,
wow.
not Joe.
So, sorry to bring you down. Um, quote. Man, I think I'm
I
really bad at
almost called
quotes.
you Joy Ho.
Sure. So that that's okay. I wouldn't be mad. It's happened enough. I don't know if I have any quotes for you, Linda. I'm really sorry.
That's why I laugh so hard. Okay, well, the tough get going, right, 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 right. The tough
I
get
know it.
going. And it's time to go, you guys. So I hope that this inspired you, motivated you, and encouraged you on your health and fitness journey. Thanks to Joe for coming on the show and bringing some new information for everybody about the fact that they could boost their metabolisms and actually eat more to get their results. Thanks so much for coming on, and we really appreciate all you're doing in the world of health and fitness.
Thank you, Linda. You as well.
And thanks everybody for listening to this episode of the Sisterhood of Sweat. Let us know what resonated with you. Give us a 5-star review and follow us on Instagram at Sisterhood of Sweat. And as always, keep on keeping on. Bye, everyone.